Welcome to 5 to 9, the movie game for movie fans, where we have to connect actors to actors through no fewer than 5 and no more than 9 movies. I'm your host, Eric Ginsberg, and we're coming to you live on tape from my apartment, quarantined in beautiful Asbury Park, New Jersey. Do you love movies? Do you love getting lost in the IMDb, the Internet Movie Database? Do you love talking through, who was that guy? Who was in that thing? What's his face? Then this is your show, and this game is for you. In just a moment, I'm going to introduce today's contestants. But first, I want to remind you that if you'd like to be a contestant on 5 to 9, you can enter for a chance to be on our show by beating us at our own game. Just download or purchase official 5 to 9 game cards at 5to9game.com. That's the number 5, T-O, the number 9, game.com. Play today's challenge. Post a photo of your winning game card on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, and tag at 5 to 9 game in your post. So my first guest is somebody who, like me, believes that maybe the most underappreciated movie of all time is Mixed Nuts. Joanna Burns, welcome to the show.
Oh my God.
That was good. I should have put that.
Eric, I had no idea. We've never spoken about this.
I can't go a Christmas without watching it, and I'm Jewish. It's got everyone. It's got, just everyone's in that movie, and I love it. And Rita Wilson and Steve Martin are the best together.
It's
heartbreaking. Heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking.
Yes, Rita Wilson.
Oh yeah, she's so cute. I mean, that's our movie. That's our holiday movie.
It is.
It is definitely my go-to. So, Joanna, right now you are co-writing 2 musicals. Can you tell me about A Halloween Shiva and We Are the Benjamin Harrison High School Horse Girls? Am I reading that right?
That's correct. So, A Halloween Shiva, it's a family dramedy about a family dealing with grief. Their mother, who happens to have passed away. Halloween was her favorite holiday, and her Shiva, the first day of Shiva, happens to fall on Halloween. And so that's that show, which I'm writing with a co-writer named Sophie Oberfield. And then the other show is sort of an absurd high school musical comedy, and it's set to be a movie musical. We're writing it that way, which is appropriate for this conversation. And it's about those girls who we all know and love through grade school and high school who love horses inexplicably. And in our story,
it's not inexplicably. They're majestic, large mammals.
You're actually correct. But the thing is, it's always the question of, like, are there horses around? What was the impetus for this love? We don't really know, but it doesn't matter. It's that those girls are the hero of that story, and it's kind of championing the underdog. That's what that show's about.
And for our listeners who maybe don't know you, you say that you're co-writing these. What is your contribution to these?
I am writing music Okay, so on the Horse Girls show with my co-writer Lisa Mongillo, she's writing the lyrics and I'm writing the music, and she and I are both writing the book, or what's called the book, which is just the script. And then on the other show, Sophie Oberfield is writing lyrics, I'm writing music, and we are co-writing the story, and then she's going to end up writing the actual spoken word. So I guess together we will have created it, and then she'll write the script for that.
Well, that's really exciting, and I can't wait for these things to be available to the public, to be available for workshop, to be available to a live audience. I've had a wonderful opportunity to be in the audience of a read-through of one of your shows that you worked on in the past, so I would love to see these again. I would love for the opportunity to do that again with one of these shows. In fact, that show I just mentioned that you co-wrote, you also co-wrote with our next guest, somebody who is a phenomenal singer-songwriter in the area, somebody who, like me, maybe one of our favorite childhood movies was Adventures in Babysitting.
Oh.
I would like to welcome Amanda Duncan. Hello, Amanda.
Why, thank you.
So, Amanda, you have a new album that is semi-out. It's out digitally, and people can find it at amandaduncan.com, Big Time Superhero, which I love, and I've listened to, I can't even tell you how many times. But you also have a weekly variety show online, on Facebook, on YouTube, on all the streaming platforms. Can you tell me about Soft Pants Nation?
Yeah. Well, Soft Pants Nation started out as an idea that I wanted to do a really long time ago. And actually, Joanna and I worked on it was I guess a rendition of it. It was called The Bean Party. And the logo was a coffee bean with a party hat and a party blower. And we wrote a song for that too, which was really fun. But I used to love variety shows as a kid. So I loved The Muppets, The Muppet Show. I loved Carol Burnett. So growing up with shows like that, I just loved all of the variety, and it was just such a random, eclectic night. And I remember, I think The Muppet Show was on Friday nights. I always look forward to Friday nights. And
you just celebrated 1 year of Soft Pants Nation.
Yeah.
Can you tell our listeners when and where to find it?
So yeah, you can find Soft Pants Nation on my music page on Facebook, which is facebook.com/Amanda Duncan Music, or I am currently streaming it to YouTube, which is also Amanda Duncan Music. So you can check it out. There's joy and inspiration, and
Motivation.
Yeah, motivation. That's part of the theme song. But I love performing, but I also love to inspire other people to try to achieve their own creative goals. So it's a split between me creating art, whether it be like me. I do try to film segments when it comes to I'll film myself baking or making a craft, but it's mostly that stuff is to inspire other people to do their own thing.
I love those parts. You can see your little hands
No.
doing all the work.
And for the most part, that is Mondays at 9 p.m. Is that correct?
Yes, thank you for promoting this correctly.
People can tune in Mondays at 9 p.m. They can also catch up on the last year that they've missed so far, which, you really left us in a cliffhanger last time. So I think people are going to really want to kind of catch up what they missed, or just tune in fresh and just kind of catch it from the middle. But it kind of works either way. It's very episodic in that way. So we've invited you guys both here today to play the movie game 5 to 9, where we'll have to connect 2 actors through no fewer than 5 and no more than 9 movies. Here's how we're going to play the game. Before our show, I asked you both to give me names of 5 actors that I have now put into a hat, and I'm going to draw them randomly. I'm going to draw 2 names that we're going to have to connect. So you guys have your game cards ready, and I am going to pull out names, and I'm shuffling them, and I'm not looking. And our first name, we're going to have to go from Dianne Wiest. Dianne Wiest. We're going to jot down Dianne Wiest in our from spot.
Why would you do this to me, Joanna? How do you spell that?
Weist. And then we're going to have to
Joanna just ruined this whole thing for me.
Sorry. She's a national treasure.
Well,
Who is it?
It's not that hard, because Joanna can actually help us in a minute, and you're going to see, because you guys are going to work as a team. So we're going to have to go from Dianne Wiest to Goldie Hawn, another national treasure. And I had a really unique opportunity, along with, I guess, the rest of our generation, who took advantage of that opportunity, which was we had Nick at Night, and we had a chance to basically watch the 40 years of network TV that we had missed kind of sped up over about a decade. And so I was aware of Goldie Hawn as a big famous movie star from films like Overboard and Wildcats, but then I got to watch her on Laugh-In with Lily Tomlin, and it was just phenomenal to have that experience and to have seen her so in her element. So we're also going to draw a third name as a wild card. If you can go through that wild card, you can earn 3 bonus points. Our wild card is going to be Rachel McAdams. So let's jot that down in our wild card spots. Rachel McAdams, who of course will remind us.
I did not write that down.
Well, I pulled it from somewhere. Rachel McAdams will, of course, remind us to stop trying to make fetch happen. After all, it's not going to happen. So finally, we're going to spin our house rule wheel. And each time we hit the house rule, you're going to get a bonus point. You don't have to do it, but if you do, you get the bonus point. So I got my house rule here. Typically, I would encourage one of you to spin it. Were we in an actual studio instead of doing this online during quarantine? But we make do with what we've got. So I will spin the wheel, and it gives a spin. It goes ticka, ticka, ticka. It doesn't make any noise. It should, but it does not make any noise, unfortunately. And Boom. Today is, you're going to love this one. And I'm not even making it up. It is. Can you read it for me?
Musical.
There we go. So any musical you can go through is going to count. And I'm going to go an extra step in that if you can use any movie that was turned into a musical or a movie that was based on a musical, whether or not the movie itself is a musical, we're going to count that, and that's going to be worth a bonus point today. So
I take back what I said about the Dianne Wiest because Joanna will really be able to help me in general with
absolutely
those categories. Yes.
Come on.
So let me go back to my cards. I almost missed my spot. So Amanda, Joanna, you'll be playing together. I'll be here on the sidelines to offer some help along the way, but not too much. Are you guys ready to play the game?
Yay!
Your apprehension speaks volumes. As I drag all of my friends into this, and they're all like, I don't know, I can play this. And then everybody wins, and it's great. As I always do, I apologize.
Oh, we played this before. We played this in our living room with friends. It's awesome.
I'm so glad you're enjoying it. Yeah, I mean, I'm so glad you're enjoying the home edition of our game. So I apologize in advance to the actors who spent a career building a body of work whose faces we know, but whose names we may butcher, and to all the hardworking writers, directors, and producers who picked the perfect name for a film that we may likely fumble through. I swear we really do love your work. So Amanda, Duncan, Joanna, Burns, we're going from Dianne Wiest to Goldie Hawn. Through Rachel McAdams will get you 3 bonus points. Kevin Bacon, our perennial wild card, will get you 2 bonus points. Any SNL cast member is worth an extra point. And today, any musical is worth an extra point every time. So let's jot down Dianne Wiest and just start talking it through. Can you tell us some movies that Dianne Wiest was in? Obviously, we're looking at Joanna now.
Okay. So National Treasure Dianne Wiest was in Edward Scissorhands.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my
Avon
goodness.
Calling.
Yes, that's right. She was in The Birdcage.
Oh my gosh,
we
she's
just watched.
so lovely. I didn't realize that was her name. I love her.
She's in, a TV show. What the heck? Is it The West Wing or Veep or one of those sort of shows? She's
I don't know.
She was on Law and Order for a number of seasons.
That's the one. She's really official in something. I know that much.
I think my favorite movie with Dianne Wiest is probably Parenthood.
Oh, she was so good in that. You never seen that. You never seen that, G-Bag.
She plays Martha Plimpton's mom and Joaquin Phoenix's mom.
Yeah. And Steve Martin is in that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
SNL.
Actually, Steve Martin was never an SNL cast member. He was on the show so many times and hosted so much that, just getting back to what we said before about Nick at Night, when they had the best of SNL on Nick at Night, they made sure to include Steve Martin sketches just about every episode from those first 5 seasons of SNL from that original cast, that I too grew up believing he was an official cast member, but he was not.
And Rick Moranis wasn't on SNL either, right?
No, he was on SCTV.
Oh,
which was
that's a show that I watched late at night.
That was Canada's Answer.
That's right. Yes,
isn't it? Well, Lorne Michaels was from that. I think that's where he started.
Lorne Michaels is from Canada, but SCTV was based out of Canada. And it was kind of the Canadian response to SNL. And they tried kind of poaching a lot of the talent from there, especially once Lorne Michaels left. Dick Ebersol took over for SNL, and he tried to get Harold Ramis to come over, who turned it down. He succeeded at getting Catherine O'Hara, who also was in Beetlejuice, I know she wasn't in Edward Scissorhands, but kind of bookended Tim Burton films. But she came over to SNL. She did 2 weeks of pre-show before the season and was so miserable that she left, and she never actually was on an episode. She quit before the first episode of the season.
Of Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, it was not for her. She ran right back to SCTV.
I knew that she was over there, but I didn't think she was on SNL, but wow.
Never did do it. So let's think about Dianne Wiest and maybe how we could connect her to Rachel McAdams, some people who've been in Rachel McAdams movies, people who've been in Dianne Wiest movies, see who you can connect.
Has she been in anything with Diane Keaton? Because Diane Keaton was in that movie with Rachel McAdams, the family movie that I.
The Family Stone?
Mhm.
Yes.
Is that
Mhm.
it?
Mm-hmm.
With Craig T. Nelson and Luke Wilson and Sarah Jessica Parker, right?
Yes, I know she was in that. Sarah Jessica Parker. Okay, so Rachel McAdams.
I'm trying to think of who.
Also, of course, Mean Girls
Of course.
with
Tina Fey.
Hmm.
Tina Fey. She's not in a ton of movies though. What about there are
Tina
not
Fey did that Paul Rudd movie where she was an admissions officer at Harvard or something. She was in Stepsisters, not Stepsisters. She was in Sisters. Sisters. What was the movie? Well, she was.
Amy Poehler.
Yeah, she was in the Sisters movie with Amy Poehler, and she was also in Baby Mama with Amy Poehler.
Mama, yeah.
Baby Mama with
And
Dax
she was
Shepard.
Yeah, and Tina Fey was also in a movie called Wine Country. I'm not sure if you guys have seen that.
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
great.
with Paula Pell.
Mm-hmm. With like all
Yes,
these
it was
great
pretty great.
SNL writers and cast members. Such a great cast.
Maya Rudolph. Okay. Dianne Wiest was in The Birdcage.
With Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman,
Robin Williams.
Nathan
Lane.
Oh, Callista Flockhart.
She was. That's right.
And what's his face? Oh, that guy.
Oh, that guy.
That plays the son, but he's in a lot of
Hank
things.
Azaria.
Hank Azaria.
He was phenomenal in that.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and Christine Baranski.
Oh, yeah.
Really a great cast. There was a story
I
I
read
read
the other night.
There was a story I read recently about it where originally they wanted Robin Williams to play the part that eventually went to Nathan Lane.
Huh,
And
I can see that.
he chose the part that he eventually wound up with, and he had to actually convince Nathan Lane to be in the film.
Huh.
They were incredible together.
They were, but Nathan Lane was not a huge star up until that point, and that really made Nathan Lane like a household name.
Huh.
Wow. You know so much about movies. Good thing you invented this game.
You should have a podcast.
You should have a podcast. You should make a game about movies. You should make a podcast about this game.
Amanda, you know who knows a lot about movies? Eric Ginsberg.
Oh, yeah, I heard that.
Okay, I feel like we can do this. Rachel McAdams.
Yeah.
Dianne Wiest.
Yep.
Okay, there's I feel comedy linkage based on their co-stars. Potentially. Oh, also The Notebook.
Sure.
With
Ryan Gosling. And Ryan Gosling was just in, maybe a couple of years ago now, was in a pretty famous sequel to a pretty old movie that there's a pretty direct link maybe, or maybe I'm thinking
Blade
about something
Runner?
else. Yeah, he was in Blade Runner.
What there was like a number attached to it. Blade Runner.
Yeah,
I don't know.
2049.
Oh, yeah.
I actually just watched it like 2 weeks ago. I think one of the nicest things about our current situation under quarantine is I've been watching a lot of movies.
That's really nice.
I've been trying to watch a movie like every day as best possible.
I haven't really had the opportunity, so I'm really happy that everyone.
I've been watching Olsen twin movies.
It has been a weird kind of torture. The other day, what was the movie that we watched the other day? What was it? What was the name of it?
Oh, It Takes Two?
It Takes Two?
No, that's probably not it.
No, that was definitely it.
Yeah, It Takes Two. And I said, so.
Kirstie Alley and.
Yeah.
Steve Guttenberg.
Steve Guttenberg, that's right.
Yeah, but like.
The Goot.
It's essentially. Oh, God. Yeah, well, it's essentially. Yeah.
You said, so the Parent Trap? But they don't know each other?
It's essentially The Parent Trap, which, Lindsay Lohan, who was in Mean Girls, also did her own version of The Parent Trap. But there's no direct linkage between those two movies that I can think of, other than that they're obviously the exact same story.
Right. Okay. Dianne Wiest, Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Sure, go for it.
Winona Ryder.
Johnny Depp. Oh, I got it. Dianne Wiest, Johnny Depp, Amanda Seyfried. in what the heck? Sleepy Hollow.
Oh, that's a good one.
Amanda Seyfried, Rachel McAdams in Mean
Fantastic.
Girls.
Let me jot some of this stuff down.
I'm not writing this down.
You should. We're playing the game.
So Joanna's holding a drink. I'm not, she's usually the one who writes things down.
Sleepy Hollow. I mean, I'll be honest. I have not seen Sleepy Hollow. Maybe I'm thinking of From Hell.
Christina Ricci?
I think it was Christina Ricci.
No,
both beautiful, large-eyed women, but we'd be going in kind of a circle to say Christina Ricci was in Addams Family Values with Christine Baranski. But that'd be a circle. Then we'd come back to Dianne Wiest, right, where we started in the Birdcage.
Oh.
Yeah, it wouldn't help us. But okay, so we can back it up, but we can stick with Johnny Depp if you want, because Johnny Depp is in a lot of movies with a lot of people.
I can't believe I mixed up Christina Ricci and Amanda Seyfried. Oh, good God. Okay, Edward Scissorhands, got it.
Sure.
We said Johnny Depp.
Uh-huh. Also, Vincent Price was in that movie.
Oh, correct.
But what other movies has he been? I mean, he's been in a couple movies. Who's the guy from Breakfast Club?
There are a couple of the guys.
Well, no. Who's also in
Judd Nelson.
No, she's got to keep going.
No,
the
bad guy. The bad guy in Edward Scissorhands.
Yep, he was young and geeky, boyfriend. And then he grew up, and they made him like a big jock, Johnny football hero.
Remember, you're like, I can't believe how different he looks from when he was a kid till now.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Michael Hall?
Yes, and if you can use Anthony Michael Hall, he was a cast member on SNL in the 1984-85 season.
No.
Yes, that was the season that they had Robert Downey Jr. and Joan Cusack and Randy Quaid and Damon Wayans, and that was the season right before Lorne Michaels. That was like right when Lorne Michaels came back to the show. Ben Stiller was on. It was a really wild season that had such great talent and sucked. So,
no one has ever heard of that season.
I am blown away.
I feel bad. I feel bad saying this, but I'm trying to prevent Joanna from popping because we don't have pop filters. So I keep moving. If anyone's watching this on YouTube, that's why I keep touching this mic.
All right, so Anthony Michael Hall, go there. What else Anthony Michael Hall in?
Well, he was in The Breakfast Club.
Sure was.
Who was famous? Well, Molly Ringwald, but I don't know what other things she's been in. There was The Principal. I don't know his name. He was in a bunch of stuff over time.
What's her face with the hair?
Yes, what's her face with
Ali
the hair?
Sheedy?
Uh-huh. That's what's her face with the hair. And what's her face with the hair, Ali Sheedy, was just in a really phenomenal movie with Natalie Portman and Oscar Isaac. And I'm blanking on her name right now. But she was in a movie called Annihilation. She was really great in that. No one saw Annihilation?
No.
I think I stopped seeing movies after 2005.
So all of your movie knowledge is pre-2005. All right, so who else is in The Breakfast Club? Go for it.
I had to estimate. Who else was in The Breakfast Club? You can just put it into my neck and I'll just...
Well, it's not really picking you up. I see the volume.
I'll just hum.
I feel like Anthony Michael Hall was in one of the movies in the Dark Knight trilogy, but I can't recall which one. He was like a news anchor, or maybe I'm thinking of something else, but that's where my brain is going on, like more recent Anthony Michael Hall.
Oh my God. For people listening to this, I feel must be so angry at us for not knowing anything.
Well, half the fun is them screaming at their podcast and saying, I can do it better, and then playing with us online and then sending us their game card and saying, see, this is a better way to do it. That's half the fun for them, I hope.
That does sound like half the fun. Oh, man. I feel like if I was listening to this, I'd be like, I know the answer, and then I would get it. But, the pressure's on.
I think maybe we should go backwards and choose a different movie.
Okay, so instead of Edward Scissorhands?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So what's another Dianne Wiest movie? We've definitely named a couple of them that are pretty A-list, top shelf.
I only have those two, The Birdcage and Edward Scissorhands. I know she's in plenty more things, but I just don't know them.
Okay, so let's go Birdcage.
Okay. Birdcage, I feel like Robin Williams could be a real something that is
He's
good.
a gem.
Robin Williams.
Okay, The Birdcage.
What are some Rachel McAdams movies? Obviously, we've got The Notebook. We've got Mean Girls. What else has Rachel McAdams been in?
With The Family Stone.
Mm-hmm.
Disobedience with Rachel Weisz.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's it.
Yeah, no,
okay.
She's been in other stuff.
Just kidding. I'm plenty more, I'm sure.
Well, there's a pretty good way to kind of maybe back into Rachel McAdams from Goldie Hawn, because you said that there was somebody in The Family Stone. Who was that someone that you jumped right on immediately?
Sarah Jessica Parker?
Well, that we kind of got there eventually, but you started with who was the matriarch of The Family Stone?
Diane Keaton.
Right, and if we're trying to get to Goldie Hawn, she was in a great movie with Goldie Hawn.
First Wives Club?
First Wives Club. So yeah,
wow.
So now look at that. So we've got Goldie Hawn was in First Wives Club with Diane Keaton, who was in The Family Stone with Rachel McAdams. So we just solved the back end of this. Now all we have to do is get from Robin Williams to Rachel McAdams, and that's a win. We're already halfway there.
Oh, wowie, Eric. Okay. Rachel McAdams, Robin Williams. Robin Williams was in Hook, which was on my list repeatedly of faves.
Mm-hmm. Great movie.
There's not a ton of, Maggie Rogers. Is she?
What? Oh, no.
Maggie
not
Smith?
Maggie Rogers.
Oh,
As in Light On?
Maggie Rogers.
Leave the light on.
No, yeah. This is my whole life. This is Joanna's,
Maggie Smith.
Joanna's whole life with me is me saying the wrong person's name and
It's my favorite.
Combining actors' names, their first names and last names.
Yeah,
Maggie Rogers, that old woman from Harry Potter.
my wife Laura and I, whom you know, we're living a constant version of $25,000 pyramid together, where she'll say things like, not Giovanni Ribisi, but, and I'll say Casey Affleck. She'll say yes, and we're like on to the next thing. All right, so sure, we can go Hook, we can go Maggie Smith, who was in all the Harry Potter films. Was Rachel McAdams in any movies with anybody in the Harry Potter universe, or were any of them in any movies with anybody who was in a movie with Rachel McAdams? She was in some movie where she was on like a morning show. She was in like a newsroom, and I can't recall the name of it right now.
Well, is it called Newsroom?
Not Newsroom. No, that's well, she was in that movie about the priests, about the Boston newspaper. Spotlight.
She was in Spotlight. That was a great movie.
What's his face? He kind of talks like that. He's like,
Michael Keaton.
No, not Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton was in that, but who else?
Oh, what's his?
Oh, Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo.
Uh-huh. See, you guys are doing it. You're like, Mark Ruffalo. Right, so you guys got it. Yeah.
Charming.
Absolutely. So we have Michael Keaton. We have Mark Ruffalo. Who else was in that?
I think just those.
There was one other person, right?
Well,
no,
it was
a
couple other.
Two-person movie, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It was originally written as a play, and they adapted it for film, is how that worked. One set, two people waiting for Godot.
Mark Ruffalo was also in The Kids Are All Right with Annette Bening and Julianne Moore.
Were either of them in a movie with either Robin Williams or anybody else from The Birdcage?
Oh, it's gotta be. Annette Bening was in American Beauty with Kevin Spacey and Kermandu. Oh, what's his name? Oh, that can't be it.
No.
Klima Sarami.
I think you're just saying syllables now.
Wait. I'm not too far away. I know that it's Clea Sarami is not quite it.
All right. Well, is there anybody we can connect to that we know off the cuff? So we went Rachel McAdams. Is it Adams or Adam? I'm not even sure. Adams. There's
Mina
more
Savari?
than one.
Who's that?
Yeah, Mina Savari is definitely the beauty in American Beauty under all of those rose petals.
Oh, and also, what's her face is also in it.
Good old what's her face?
Oh, she was also in Hocus Pocus. Right?
Keep going.
Oh,
Sarah Jessica Parker.
Which would only get us back to where we were before.
Oh, but no, that wasn't who I meant. She plays the sister in
Bette Midler, who's also in First Wives Club.
No, but she plays the sister who's in Hocus Pocus. The little sister.
She was a little girl, that's right.
Oh.
What is her name? I know it all the time, and now I don't, of course.
Oh yeah, it's always harder once you're like on the game.
Yeah.
Once you're on the show. They keep talking about making a sequel to Hocus Pocus, and they keep not making a sequel.
I hope
to
they
Hocus
do not.
Pocus. Yeah, so
because they would ruin it with auto-tune, and I'd be angry.
Well, I mean, you're getting close.
I'm getting close with my opinion of hating auto-tune in Disney movies.
Oh man, I'm seeing her face. Her face is right there, and she was also in Ghost World with
with all those people in Ghost World.
Well, the only other notable Scarlett Johansson.
And also Steve Buscemi. He was also in Ghost World.
Oh.
He was like the creepy old dude. Not that he was old, but he was an adult and they were high school kids.
Right.
But you are correct. She was definitely in both American Beauty and Ghost World and Hocus Pocus.
Do you know her name?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Her last name is a kind of tree.
Poplar. Spruce. Poplar McGovern.
Well, here's my question.
Well,
would it get us anywhere? Because if not, we should go back to somewhere that is going to get us somewhere. So just to kind of recap, Dianne Wiest, we can go Birdcage, we can go Parenthood, we can go Edward Scissorhands, we can, get to Robin Williams from the Birdcage, as well as you mentioned everybody else in the Birdcage and everybody else in all these other movies. But then we eventually need to get to Rachel McAdams because that is how we got to Goldie Hawn, which of course is our end goal.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay, so with Robin Williams, so what Nathan Lane's was in The Producers with Matthew Broderick, who was also who was Uma Thurman. Now I don't know.
Fun fact is that Matthew Broderick is married to Sarah Jessica Parker.
Jessica Parker, exactly.
Right.
Who was
but I can't
in
recall
the
a movie
Stone.
they were in together.
Wait, I've lost something. So we're trying to currently get from
Robin Williams to Rachel McAdams.
Robin Williams to Rachel McAdams.
Okay, so if you put down your drink, you would know.
I can't put it down because it'll get.
I spill things, everybody. That's what Joanna's trying to tell
My
you.
first to hold this drink
I spill
forever
things
until I die or the drink is done. Whatever comes first.
and so far, only the latter has happened, for which we are grateful.
Okay, so Nathan Lane with what movie was Matthew Broderick in with Sarah Jessica Parker?
I can't think of one, but they're married. But I guess go back to The Producers. Who else was in The Producers?
Will Ferrell.
He was great in that.
Oh, then was he in other SNL movies?
And was he in something with someone who was in something that we can...
Anna Gasteyer.
Sure. What movie was he in with Anna Gasteyer? I know you love Anna Gasteyer, don't you?
She's amazing.
Oh, she's incredible.
I thought she was really good in Wine Country. Generally speaking, she doesn't do it for me. I was more a Sherry O'Terry fan during that period.
Okay, Anna Gasteyer is classically trained. She's a musician. She's also an incredible singer. And she's just she's like, if you plop her into a lot of different places, she works really well.
I mean, I'm not in any way trying to discount all of her talents. I'm just saying that generally speaking, when I'm watching her, I'm not enjoying myself.
Oh no.
I'm not having a good time.
No.
She's very talented. She doesn't do it for me. It's just not my kind of comedy, that's all.
So I'm gonna erase
But
to erase the Robin Williams thing. From the Birdcage, I'm gonna go to Nathan Lane.
yeah, because we are there. We've made the connections. You just have to kind of say it again for what we said before.
Producers, and then Matthew Broderick. Oh my gosh.
Well, we wanted to go Will Ferrell, right? Because that's how we were going to get to Mean Girls, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
because once you get into SNL, it's really easy to kind of rattle around because you said who wrote and had a smaller part in Mean Girls.
I got it. Okay, so Will Ferrell was in School, the school movie,
Old School.
Old School, who was with Luke Wilson, who was in Family Stone.
That actually doesn't help us because we're trying to get, if we can get Rachel McAdams into the Family Stone and then Diane Keaton out of the Family Stone, then we can get to Goldie Hawn. If we can go into the Family Stone from somebody else, we're either going to skip Rachel McAdams and go straight to Goldie Hawn through Diane Keaton, or we're going to ignore Diane Keaton and keep working our way to Goldie Hawn some other way. But we're still super duper close because...
No, I thought I had it. I was
so
excited.
He's got a piece.
Who wrote Mean Girls?
Tina Fey.
Right? And Tina Fey is super besties in a lot of movies with her SNL cast member, her SNL co-cast member, castmate, Amy Poehler, who is in a movie or 2 or 3 or 4 with Will Ferrell.
Amy Poehler and Will Ferrell?
Oh, yes. They've had a number of... I got 2 off the top of my head, one of which I watched a couple weeks ago that was not good. I stopped in the middle. But they were in a couple of movies together.
Oh.
I have no idea.
I can't think of a single
one.
Okay, Zoolander, Will Ferrell is in. I can't even think of movies that Amy Poehler is in aside from Mean Girls and Wine Country and Baby Mama. Those are the only 3.
Oh, that's right. She's the fun mom in Mean Girls.
Yes. Cool
yeah. So we'll see how many we have. We might not even need Tina Fey, although in our hearts we always need Tina Fey.
Well, that would give us an extra point, right? Or
did you guys ever read Bossy Pants, Tina Fey's book?
So
of course,
good.
So good.
Times. The book on tape is even better because she narrates it.
I should definitely check that out. So if we can get from Will Ferrell to Amy Poehler, and again, we don't need to go directly. We can have an intermediary if you need it, if you can't think of it. But I will maybe give you a little softball of a hint, which is that they were figure skaters in a movie. They were in
Blades
an entirely...
of Glory?
Yes, they were in that one with Amy Poehler's then husband, Will Arnett.
Will Arnett.
And John Hader for like the couple of years when Hollywood thought it could capitalize on that Napoleon Dynamite success and make a star out of him, and it just did not work.
Oh yeah, it was very bad.
John Hader, who is a twin.
He is. And no relation to the very talented Bill Hader.
Well, this is John Heder or Heater.
Right. Heder?
Right.
I'm not entirely sure.
And then
so wait, Amy Poehler was in Blades of Glory.
She was.
Will Ferrell was in Blades of Glory. With Amy Poehler.
I think we've done it. Because what was Amy Poehler in with Rachel McAdams?
Was in Mean Girls.
Oh, Mean Girls. Cool, Mom.
With Rachel McAdams.
Mean Girls.
Okay, so Dianne Wiest was in The Birdcage with Robin Williams.
No, with Nathan Lane.
With Nathan Lane, thank you.
Yeah. In The Producers.
Who was in The Producers with Will Ferrell, who was in Blades of Glory with Amy Poehler, who was in Mean Girls with Rachel McAdams, who was in
Family Stone
with Diane Keaton, who was in
First Wives Club with Goldie Hawn.
Hey, you did
it!
Oh congratulations, you are winners.
Thank you. Well, I wasn't as excited because I really thought that the Luke Wilson thing could have really brought us there very quickly. And then even though you explained it thoroughly of why it didn't work, I thought it still could work. Theoretically,
it does work. It's just that we would say Dianne Wiest was in The Birdcage with Nathan Lane, who was in... oh, jeepers. I have to kind of like rewrite some of my card. But we have it. Who was in The Producers with Will Ferrell, who was in Blades of Glory with Amy Poehler, I'm sorry, going back. So let's say we were to go through Luke Wilson. So yeah, so Dianne Wiest was in The Birdcage with Nathan Lane, who was in The Producers with Will Ferrell, who was in Old School with Luke Wilson, who was in The Family Stone with Diane Keaton, who was in First Wives Club with Goldie Hawn. And you would have done it, but you would have lost out on the wild card points. It works.
But Rachel McAdams, but we couldn't stay in the same movie.
We can't rattle around the same movie. No, we can only go through the movie once.
Okay, never mind.
So we got wild card points from SNL cast member as well as wild card.
Oh yeah, you guys are racking up the points. Give me 1 second. I gotta redo my card a little bit and total it up because I did a little oops and I forgot to write somebody's name. So I'm gonna fix it on my card and I'm gonna read it off to you in my official announcer voice. Okay. So we have Dianne Wiest, who is in The Birdcage with Nathan Lane, who was in The Producers with Will Ferrell, not to be confused with Pharrell Williams, entirely different person, who was in not only Blades of Glory with Amy Poehler, but also The House, where they play a married couple running a casino out of their home, came out about 2 summers ago.
Oh, yes, that's right. Never. I mean, I remember the trailer, but never saw it.
Yeah, you know, I was watching it, and there were just all these moments that were supposed to be jokes that just didn't make me laugh. Like, I got the premise, but it's one of those like, oh, okay, I get intellectually why that's zany, but I wasn't like, I think for something to be funny, it also has to surprise you a little bit, has to catch you off guard. And there wasn't any of that. Like every joke was like,
their kid is going to college, right? That was like the whole premise, that they would get the money to send their kid to college.
Yes, they were going to run a casino at home and they were going to send their kid to college that way. Although Rachel McAdams was also in The Wedding Crashers, which also had Will Ferrell. So we could have gone there a lot faster, but we are where we are.
But Amy Poehler gave us an extra point because she's on SNL.
I've never seen Wedding Crashers. Will Ferrell was also on SNL.
And Luke Wilson was also in Wedding Crashers, but that's neither here nor there. We could have theoretically gone in Rachel McAdams out. You know what? Luke Wilson wasn't in that one. That was Owen Wilson. But I'm sure Luke Wilson probably showed up somewhere to give a wave.
Luke Wilson was in the Royal Tenenbaums.
He was with Gene Hackman.
Stiller and Gene Hackman. Oh, we could have done this a lot.
Gene Hackman was in The Birdcage. There's so many ways we could have won this, but like literally the same movies. And that's, I guess, part of the fun of the game. You know, I watched The Family Stone and it was, I mean, I don't want to ruin the ending, but like it's a downer.
Oh yeah. You know, I'm never a fan of, no. I am never a fan of an all-star cast and there's a million plots. Like, get me out of here. I do not want, it's like, oh, like an all-star cast and like they weren't even in the same room when they all filmed it. They were like, it's all these.
How was it working with Samuel L. Jackson? We've never met. All the scenes were on a green screen. It was a stand-in, but it was a lot of fun.
And I'm sorry, who are we quoting now?
Herself.
Okay. I thought like somebody literally was in a movie with Sam Jackson, never met him. It's kind of like when they did the press photo for the new Lion King movie and everybody was in the room at once except for Beyonce, who got shopped into it because she didn't want to be in the room with everybody else. Classic. All right, so we're going to score it at the bottom. You'll see at the bottom we have 10 minus the number of movies. We have 6 movies. That's going to get us 4 points. Did we get through our wild card Rachel McAdams? Yes, we absolutely did. That's going to be 3 points on top of the 4. Did we go through Kevin Bacon? We did not. Did we go through an SNL cast member? Oh boy, did we. We used Will Ferrell and Amy Poehler. That's going to get us 2 more points. Gosh, I wish we could use Goldie Hawn, but she was on Laugh-In, not SNL. Did we go through any musicals? I'm going to count Mean Girls because even though the movie itself is not a musical, it is now a musical on Broadway. So I'm going to count 1 point for that. Were there any other of these movies that were musicals? Obviously, Blades of Glory had a lot of music.
Yeah, we forgot about the musical part.
And Birdcage had a lot of music in it. But I couldn't say either of them were musicals. We are going to get the 1 point, though.
The Producers.
From, oh, yes. There we go. Thank you very much. The Producers is definitely good for a second bonus point because that is a phenomenal musical adaptation of a musical play of a comedic film. And a fun fact is that Mel Brooks wrote all the songs for the musical that went into the movie. And they also, Mel Brooks in the original film, when they sing Springtime for Hitler, there's this one guy who says, don't be stupid, be a smarty, come and join the Nazi party. And that is Mel Brooks. And in the later film in 2006, not the 1968, but the 2006 musical, they use the exact same clip. He didn't actually act in it, but they use the exact same vocal of Mel Brooks saying, don't be stupid, be a smarty, come and join the Nazi party. So technically he gets credit for being in the film because they lifted voice from his earlier work. So, all right, let's total these points. We have 4 for the number of movies. We have 3 for the wild card. That's 7. We have 2 bonus points on the house rule. That's 9. We have 2 bonus points in SNL cast members. That is 11 massive points anytime we hit double digits. I wish I could make the confetti rain like you did last week on, on Soft Pants Nation. But we are doing it. We have done it. You guys have won the game. I'm so proud of you. Listeners, please make sure to check out Soft Pants Nation every Monday night at 9 p.m. at facebook.com/Amanda Duncan Music. Definitely check out. We're going to post in our description the links to the musicals that Joanna Burns is working on. Amanda Duncan, Joanna Burns, thank you guys so much for taking time to be on 5 to 9 today, for playing our game. You've each won the official 5 to 9 gamepad, which comes with 50 game cards and is also available now at 5to9game.com. If you 5 to 9ers listening out there in the podcast ether, we're chomping at the bit, yelling out a better solution to today's challenge as we play through it. You can enter for a chance to come on our show by beating us at our own game. Just download or purchase official 5 to 9 game cards at 5to9game.com. Play today's challenge, post your game card on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, and tag at 5to9game in your post. High scores, as well as creativity and entertainment, will be considered. This has been 5 to 9. I'm your host, Eric Ginsberg. Our show is recorded today in my apartment in Asbury Park, as well as Casa de Duncan and Burns in Hazlitt, New Jersey. Our sound engineer today has been us because we are jerry-rigging this thing from home under these hard times. Our theme music is by me. Subscribe to 5 to 9 podcast through the Apple Podcasts, Google Play Store, SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube. If you guys want to look at us too, we're literally everywhere else you get your podcasts. Please play with us online through social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can play today's challenge or make up your own and play with or against the global 5 to 9 community. Just don't forget to tag at 5to9game when you do. Thanks for listening, and let's play together again soon.